For those of you who don't know who Keith Dickerson is, he's one of the top agents and team leaders in the Chicagoland area. Recently joined a new brokerage, Y Realty. He's also an amazing coach that helps agents really just get better at what they do and do better business. And so we've worked with Keith for probably 2 years now, if I'm correct. And
Yeah, probably over 2 years, probably hit almost three, I think.
yeah, almost 3 years. And Keith is one of our top converting agents within our program. And so I'm excited to chat today and just learn a little bit more about what you're doing and what your team's doing and seeing how we can help each other convert these appointments at the highest level. Anything you want to add before we get into the questions and the meat of the webinar?
No, obviously my friend, she wants to be on camera, so
I saw that. How
uh,
to do it.
shows how used to Zoom calls he is. No, so I'm area leader for Y Realty. I've been selling real estate for about 27 years. I hit the 1 billion in sales mark about 6 years ago. I had a very successful team of almost 20 agents that I sold off about 3 years ago, and focusing on growing Y Realty. I got a small team right now, which I prefer later in my career instead of a big team. And I also coach. And I've been using verified seller leads and seller appointment hub to give me the extra boost as far as listing opportunities.
Yep. And like we mentioned, worked with each other for a little over 2 years now. Obviously, as agents, we get bombarded with a lot of offers. We've all tried different lead sources and online lead
Mhm.
sources, and they all vary. So I guess just getting into the meat of things, like I mentioned, what's the biggest differentiator that you see in terms of like, why do you feel that these convert better for you than maybe some other lead sources? What are you maybe doing differently than some other agents last week? And maybe these agents were on, maybe they weren't. We spoke with Corey Tanzer and he shared some things that he was doing specifically and his team does to convert. So just curious what you and your team are seeing and why you feel these work so well in terms of conversion for you.
Yeah, so the seller appointment, so both of them are unique in its own way. So seller appointment hub, they highly vet the lead to where you get the long form that tells you everything about when they're looking to sell, why they're selling, what price point that they're hoping to get for their property. So you already know as an agent if they're unrealistic sellers or not. I would say the majority of them are realistic sellers when it comes to the price point. So it's good. So that makes it easy. The other thing is I've noticed that they don't interview any other agents. So when I'm like, did you interview any other agents or are you in the process of interviewing other agents? The answer is typically no. They're like, do we need to? And I'm like, not if you don't want to. So it's up to you. But one of the things that we do that sets us apart a little bit, I think, is that we know that the listing is coming up, the presentation is coming up, in-person presentation. And so we'll deliver something to their door. We don't ring the doorbell. We don't bother them. We shoot them a text and say, hey, earlier today I dropped off a little gift. I'm looking forward to seeing you Saturday at 2. And then in the gift, they have tchotchkes, what I call tchotchkes, whether they're logoed bottle openers and a few other things that's in there. What we've seen is when you give people something, they almost have more of a, oh, we need to like list with that person because they've already invested in us. But that's been good for us. That's been good for them holding the appointment as well. But the conversion's been good. We're out of probably every 10 appointments, we're converting 4 right away. Then I would say within 6 months, probably another 2 to 3 more. So it's a high conversion and a very big ROI.
So I'm curious, sometimes these appointments come in as phone conversations rather than
Mhm.
in-person appointments. Are you still dropping something off at their door beforehand, or what's that kind of look like? What's the difference in terms of how you're handling a phone appointment versus an in-person appointment that we set first?
So the phone appointment I handle differently. So I'll call to just verify that they do want to sell. They say, yes, we definitely do want to sell, but we just want to have a phone conversation because some people just don't want to be sold anything. And I try to reassure them that we're not here to sell you anything. We're just here to supply a service and get you from point A to point B in the quickest and smoothest amount of time. And then we explain how we do that. I will share with them online. I'll ask them if they want to do a Zoom call so they get to know me a little bit better. From there, I can say I can do a listing presentation, but I can't and show it to you on a Zoom call, but I'm not going to be able to tell you exactly what your home is worth without seeing it. And I always tell them it's kind of like when you trade in a car. They'll give you a general idea what it's worth, but they won't tell you exactly what it's worth until they actually see it. Everybody gets that part of it. I will be honest, the phone appointments are harder to convert because I think they are not as serious as the people that do the in person. But If you have the proper CRM, which I always call the transmission of our business, have the proper CRM, the CRM will bring them back around. So you may have to work them a little bit longer, but those leads definitely beat not having one at all. It's because you just have to work those a little bit more. And if you have a team, you can have agents work those if you don't want to personally manage those. And if you have a team CRM, then you can see how they're managing those and how often they're touching them through AI and through text messages and calls here and there. So those are a little bit longer. Verified seller leads are similar. It's just a phone call to see if they are really looking. They fill out a form saying that they're interested in selling. You just confirm that they're interested in selling. Those are a lower conversion, but they're also a lower price. And you'll get a lot more of those. But you're probably still converting 1 to 2 a month. So for agents out there that are doing a dozen sales a year, you're going to double with verified seller leads.
Yeah, and those are also, like you mentioned, great for those of you who may run a team on here. If you are looking to feed business to your agents, it's a great way to give them someone to follow up with, show them the persistence of follow up and things like that. And so,
Exactly.
yeah, it's a great kind of supplement to their business. Also, something with our phone appointments, something with our phone appointments is you can always ask for the in-person meeting once you do the Zoom with them. Sometimes it just takes having that like connection, and selling is obviously a big deal for a lot of people. And there's a lot of emotion that goes behind it. And sometimes it's more approachable when they're speaking to our team to just say, hey, let's do a phone appointment first. And then once you've connected with them over Zoom, don't be afraid to ask to get that in-person appointment as well.
Yeah. And, what I teach my coaching clients is these leads are only as good as your ability to convert, right? If you're not calling them, if they're not top of mind, if you don't have, again, I always go back to CRM because I'm a true believer in a good CRM service, which is amazing how many agents don't ever even look in their CRM, very rarely. And if they do, it's on a very basic level. So if you have the CRM, all these things are going to help you convert. So this is it's like a football game, right? Everybody's got their job. Bill Belichick used to say, just do your job. So everybody's got a job. So when you're in real estate, everything's got its job, whether it be the CRM, it's the AI that's contacting them, it's the agents that's contacting them. Everybody does that. And that raises your conversion so much higher. You're already paying for the lead. You should probably do the work.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned CRMs, you mentioned some AI. Is there anything else like you're using technology wise to help you convert these, or what's that kind of look like?
Yeah, I'm using homeowner AI. I'll ask them if they want to be in homeowner AI, which homeowner AI pretty much lets them know. It's almost like an Angie's List where it tells them and shows them who to go to for certain things and gives updates on when things need to be done and your furnace being cleaned and all this other stuff. I've never had anybody say no to that. So that's another conversion tool. It doesn't seem like it would be, but it's always coming from you. So it seems like you're the one doing it. So that's been very good for us.
So it's
Yeah,
similar
I
to
mean,
like a drip campaign that just reminds them of like certain home upkeep things, or I'm not familiar with it. So I'm just curious.
yeah, it's like a home upkeep thing, but it's also like a one stop if they needed to find somebody. So what we've done is take that and our local people that we refer for furnace or painting or flooring or contractor work or whatever it may be, they'll actually pay to be a part of that. They'll be like, okay, we want to be in that. So when people go there and they need a painter, they contact. Now, do I charge them a lot? No, I don't charge them hardly anything at all. It's something every month that comes in, and most pay for the year just to have their name and number in there. And they get business off of it. And I see when they get business off of it. And you see when people are logging in. So it's a really good tool. When you start seeing people logging in more, like in the work that they're contracting and wanting, that they may be getting ready to sell.
Absolutely. And it's like you said, a good indication to pick up the phone and call them and just see where they're at in the process. Everyone's timeline's different and changes. Like sometimes we'll send an appointment over and they're like, I want to sell next month. And then next month turns into 4 months. And so it's a great way to just, I guess, drip them and then see the indicator and pick up the phone and call when they're ready. And like you said, it also
Yeah.
comes from you, which is really helpful. They're very familiar with your name at that point and they know who you
Mhm.
are, generally speaking.
Yeah. And what I've also seen is that, clients or homeowners or whatever, however you want to label them, they can smell commission breath. They can smell if you're just coming after the commission and they want it right now. If you just come from a, hey, I'm here to help and I'm going to add you part of this homeowner AI, that's going to be something that helps. It's free. You can be a part of it. Whether you contact me ever again or you don't, that's up to you. I just want to show you that I'm here to help. If you continue to show people that you're just there to help and you check on them, like, hey, how's it going? Or maybe market updates every quarter or twice a year, whatever you want to do, that's showing that you're helping. It's showing that you're a professional within your industry. And that's just having tasks in your business and sticking to those tasks are extremely important. It can be mundane because you're like, oh, I got to do this again today, but it mundane pays the bill.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to remember with these appointments and these leads, they've already spent time on the phone with us. They've gone through 25 questions and spent 25 minutes with us. And for them, it's getting repetitive if we pick up the phone and ask them the same questions and how much do you want to sell for and things like that. So it's important to showcase your value and really give them something like you mentioned and not just repeat the same things over. Just make it about you and the sale and more about them and what they need and why they're moving and where they're going and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's very similar if we call an expired listing, right? We'll call it, and we always have another listing that may have sold the next street over or the next whatever over in the same neighborhood or whatever it may be. And we'll say, we're not calling to get the listing. We're just calling to see why it didn't sell because these other three houses just sold in the last couple of months, but yours was on the market for 6 months. They're very eager to tell you why it didn't sell. And then at the end, we always say, okay, these others are selling. I'm sure that yours will sell. If you're looking to sell, we would love the opportunity to be able to have a conversation. And because we led with information first, instead of you need a lead list with us because we're better than everybody else, which is what everybody else is saying to them, we typically get the appointment. So it's just how you have that conversation is way, way different.
Absolutely. And on that same capacity I did a training a couple weeks ago with our agents and a lot of them were curious on how like some of our agents that are converting verified seller leads at a high level were approaching the situation just because they're like, where did they inquire from or what was said? And so I'm curious when you're calling verified seller leads, and of course these are slightly different because they're not someone we're having 20-minute conversations with. We're not scheduling the appointment. So what's your approach with them that's different than with the seller appointments?
With which one? Verified seller leads?
Yeah.
Oh, first of all, I want to make sure that they did fill out the form. You know,
Right.
I don't want to just lead with, hey, when can we get an appointment? So I usually just confirmed, hey, and I always say my assistant or one of my associates had reached out to you. You had filled out a form stating that you're looking to sell your home within 3 to 5 months, 3 to 6 months, and you were willing to speak with a broker, and I'm the broker. So I'm just calling to ask some questions and just see when you're thinking about selling. I will say they lead sometimes with their fists up. No, I'm not thinking about selling. And I'm like, well, I don't know how we got your information. And I just joke around about it. I said, okay, but if you could sell, if you're thinking about selling, when would be ideal? And do you mind, since I've already got your name and your number, do you mind if I get your email address and I can put you in, and that way we can stay in contact? And they'll say, oh, yeah, ideally, I would love to list in the spring. And that's why we're having the conversation today. People get hit every single day. And as agents out there, we know this. We get hit all the time to sign up with something or to whatever it may be. And we're being solicited all the time. And we always have our fists up as well. So just remember that so does the consumer. They get hit all the time on this. And we just have to just come with not a hand out, but a hand up. Hey, hi. Don't say, hey, we're looking for commission, because that's what it sounds like. So just have that conversation. It really is about how you approach things, is how well you can gain your conversion.
Absolutely. And I think something that you said is really important in there. They may have told you that they're not interested in selling. And then you're like, if you were to sell, and there's no mental block there for you. It's not about, hey, I'm going to get stuck on this and hang up and call it good and just say this was a bad quality seller lead. It's okay, but if you were to, because they did inquire, and even if they said they didn't, there's some truth in there that they had an inkling to at least sell. So I think some of it's
Mhm.
like a mental hurdle for agents is, oh, they don't want to sell. I'm going to hang up, never call them again and just call it a bad lead. But instead asking the right questions. If you were to sell, where would you go? What does that look like for you? And just inquiring. And again, making it less about you and more about if you were, what would this look like for you currently?
If you do about 5 minutes worth of research on the house before you call, what did they buy it for? What is it worth today? Which it only takes us a few minutes to get at least a ballpark. That way, when somebody says, yeah, I would sell if I got $1 million today for my house, are you willing to pay $1 million for my house today? I'm like, I'm not looking to buy a house. right now. I'm not, but there's thousands of other people out there that are. And yeah, if you give me $1 million, and I'm actually going back to a conversation I literally had 2 weeks ago. And I said, well, it looks like you bought the house for 450 6 years ago. And he said, yes. I said, did you know it's probably worth close to eight? And he's no. I said, what do you owe? And he said, three. I said, so you have $500,000 sitting there and you're not going to sell it for an additional 200,000? I said, I can call you when it's worth $1 million. And then that conversation turned into me going to the house, and we're listing the house in January because he was like, had no idea it was worth that. He was just
Wow.
being, I know this is maybe PG-13. He was just being a shit. He was just trying to get at me. But he's a great guy. He's just, again, he had fists up. And I'm like, no, you have $500,000 worth of equity. And he had no idea. He really thought he had maybe $200,000 worth of equity. So once he found that out, he's, yeah, I'm moving to Tennessee. I'm like, okay.
And again,
Oh,
that's well where it circles back on showcasing your value and a local area market expert and taking the extra 5 minutes to just look up the home beforehand and say, hey, did you know this? I sold a home in your neighborhood. They just sold for XYZ. Yeah, you could probably sell for XYZ as well. So just
yeah, it
important.
should.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should. So everybody's just people. You just talk to them and don't try to talk to them as though they're a client or a possible commission. Just talk to them of what their needs are and where they want to go. Why do they want to go there? That's important to them. They're tired of being sold things. We're sold things all day, every day, whether it be through social media or something else. We're tired of being sold. So just if you lead with, this is just a service, I'm here to help, and act like you don't need the commission, you don't need the work, but you're just trying to help them, that diffuses them quite often. And they're like, oh, okay. I thought you were just after a commission. So I am going to get paid. But you contacted me, remember? So yeah, so you just diffuse it in the conversation. It doesn't work on everybody, but it works on a large part of
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. I think we've already covered this, but Jenna had a question. How do you convert them when the customer is saying that they have no intention of selling and just accepted the phone appointment to get Seller Appointment Hub to stop calling? And again, I think we already covered this. If you were to sell, when would you sell? But any additional thoughts on that, Keith?
Yeah, and with them, I'm just like, I'll joke and say, I don't blame you. I've done that 1,000 times to people contacting me all the time. And then I'll say, ideally, if you could sell, when would it be? And some are saying 5 years, some are saying 10 years, some are saying 2 years. And I'm like, and then I just offer a service, whether it be homeowner AI or whatever it may be, and just say, can we keep in touch this way? I'm not going to bug you. I'm not going to call you, but we're just going to contact you once in a while, either through a text message, say how's things going, and then when you're ready, you can let us know. And I don't get pushback really on that. I haven't really had anybody say no, and that's further down the road, and that litmus test is not fully proven because it's some are a couple years down the road. But if you're going to have a lead, you're going to pay for the lead, you might as well put it part of your database.
Absolutely. Have you found that any of those that maybe have expressed disinterest and that you added onto the homeowner AI, have they circled back with you quite yet, or have you not found?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, a few have, but they said that they're out a year, but then they ended up contacting me 6 months later. And it starts with, "Hey Keith, I just got your online market analysis. Is my house really worth 725?" I'm like, "I don't know. Let me check." And so I go in there and I'm like, "Wow, yeah, it should be around there." Again, I haven't seen your house, but yeah, it's gone up quite a bit since we talked just 6 months ago. And they're like, "Wow, me and my wife should have a conversation." I'm like, "You probably should." So it just, again, just if you just do the work daily, it comes back around. Not all of them will come back around because I don't think there's anything out there that's 100% conversion. And if it is, please somebody in the chat tell me which I would love to see that. But the ROI on this, you're going to get bad leads, but you can't say because two or three of the leads were bad that the whole system's bad. If you're closing 3 or 4 out of 10, or even 2 out of 10, my average commission here is probably 13,000. So it's going to be $26,000 out of 10, which is going to be roughly about $2,500. I don't know where you can go for $2,500 and go 10
Yeah,
times that.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What you said your conversion rate currently sits at every 4 out of 10. Is that
Yeah,
accurate?
3 to 4 out of 10. And some will say that seems low. I think that's actually a little high. But again, we have systems in place. The three are probably three that's looking at this list right now. So that's great. you'll probably get another one or two in a few months. But you have to stay on them a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you say your conversion rate's so high because of like speed to lead, because of follow-up, expertise? What do you accredit that to mostly?
No, I think it's just you have only a few seconds to try to create a rapport with the homeowner, and trying to create it on the phone is difficult. But just being patient, calling and saying, "Hey, I'm gonna text you that morning of the appointment to make sure that we're still happening because life happens," and they appreciate that. And when we go out there, then I just create a rapport with them. Really
Yeah.
be interested in what they're interested in, and people hire people they like. They really don't care. I used to go with this full presentation of who we are and the marketing that we do and all of our numbers and really wow people. I don't even do that anymore. They don't know how many homes I sell a year. They have no clue.
Yeah.
And they don't care.
That's true. They only care
They
about selling
really
their
don't
home.
care. They just care about if you're going to sell their house
Yeah, absolutely.
and if you're somebody they really want to work with.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. That's it. Times have changed over 20 some odd years. We used to do all these presentations and go through this whole thing and scripts, and we don't do that now. We just go in, and then being in Chicago, if they have a Cubs flag downstairs, I'm like, hey, how about the Cubs this year? And what do you think they're going to do in the off season? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. You
Build that relationship with them.
just build a relationship. They're just people just like you.
And like you said, think of it less like a commission and more like a, hey, this is a human being and let's build the relationship and I'll showcase the value. And when they
Mhm.
come around.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And then I remember I had a broker tell me my first year in real estate, you're so busy rocking these few clients to sleep every night that you're not going out and getting other clients. You have to always be prospecting for other clients. You can't just focus on the two or three you may get. And I see that a lot with agents. They're like, oh my gosh, I've got these two people and I'm talking to them all the time. I'm like, how many other people have you talked to other than those two? And they're like, no. I'm like, you always got to be prospecting. So there's agents out there that prospect extremely well, and there's agents that don't. And if you're not a great prospector, this is a must for you because you got somebody that's prospecting for you. I used to have 3 inside sales associates that worked for me full time that would call. And now I have this for $250 a lead. This is way cheaper.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's appointments delivered in your inbox on your calendar
Mhm.
in the areas you want to sell homes in. And so you're not having to deal with the day to day of an ISA and did they show up and are they making enough calls? It's just very
Mhm.
straightforward for a very low cost. So it's a great
Yeah.
supplement to agents' business that, like you mentioned, are maybe not so great at prospecting, but need that business and want it delivered in their inbox very straightforwardly.
And another thing that I do is as soon as I get the lead, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. It doesn't matter if I'm wearing a hat. It doesn't matter if I'm taking the dogs for a walk. It doesn't matter. As soon as I get that lead and they CC me on the text message with the client, then I usually shoot a quick video. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter if I look professional or not. And I'm just like, hey, this is Keith, just out walking the dogs right now. I just got your information in my inbox saying that you're looking to list your house, and we have an appointment Saturday at 2 o'clock. I'm really looking forward to meeting you both. If you have any questions, give me a call. Until then, have a great week, and I'll see you Saturday. You become real at that point. It
Yep.
doesn't matter. I've done it in the supermarket. So because they shop for groceries, so you're just real. You're just like, hey, how are you? Hey, getting
It
bread.
It takes us from being a salesperson to just a human and kind of people can bridge that gap a little bit more of, oh, hey, this is a much more comfortable conversation than we're going to sit down. He's going to wear a suit. He's going to try and make me sign a listing agreement. It's a, hey, super excited to meet you. I'm busy, but looking forward to seeing you at 123 Main Street tomorrow at 2 or whatever it is.
I'm doing these silly videos now through AI.
Oh,
And I've gotten so many people reaching out to me to possibly list like this year because they watch the videos and they all know it's AI and they all know it's stupid, but it makes you human. Like
yeah.
they're just like, oh, he's not trying to say, oh, I'm the best realtor in the world and look at the house I just sold and look at the house I just they get tired of that. But when they see me as elf on a shelf saying that the market's a little slow during the Christmas holidays and that I've got another side gig as the elf on the shelf, they think it's funny. And they're just like, oh, that's the person I want to work with. He's not taking it too serious.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then I do show the real stuff. I show the listings and I show the working behind the scenes. But you have to bring humility into it as well.
Of course. So we did say we were going to keep it at 30 minutes. There's one more question. I do want
Sure.
to leave it open for any other questions as we wrap up here. But Jenna asked, is there a certain AI platform that you're using for video that you're comfortable sharing?
Sure. SORA. It's
S
free.
O
You can,
R A.
yep, it's free. It really comes down to your imagination of how well you do with it. What is that? And just it'll scan your face. It'll have you talk a little bit, and then you just shoot silly videos. I've got one where I'm falling from the sky. I fall through the roof, and I land in the lady's house, and she's, oh hey, and I'm like, I'm right on time for my appointment. She said, that's great. I'm like, you ready to list? She said, yeah, but I may need a new roof. I'm like, yeah, sorry about that. So it's just silly little videos, and it's free. You don't
Even
have to
better.
pay anything for it. So there's your free coaching for the day. Just silly little things, but don't always just do those. Just encompass what you're doing seriously behind the scenes and going to an open house or going to whatever you may be doing. But this just shows your personality more. People want to work with people they like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You mentioned there's your free little coaching tip of the day. If somebody wanted to explore more coaching opportunity with you, what's the best avenue to reach you at?
Email me at dickersonteam@gmail.com. I don't promote my coaching. It's all word of mouth. I take no more than 20 coaching clients at a time. Right now, I've got 12 or 13. 13. I just signed up the 13 because I like to make it one-on-one and personal. And it's every single week for an hour. And I go from very high level to really diving deep into your business and creating, helping you create a brand, helping you create your CRMs, getting your AI situated within your CRM. I don't work with anybody, so I'm not going to try to sell you a CRM. You go with whomever you want. I am not affiliated with anybody, so it's not what I'm not a salesperson, and I'm not a salesperson for Seller Appointment Hub either. This is just what I have found that's helping myself and others that I've talked to. So if anybody's interested, you can do that, or you can find me at Facebook. I'm Keith Dickerson, Realtor, Illinois. You'll probably find me.
Yep. And we'll include all that information in our follow-up email. So if you guys
Yeah.
didn't get the chance to write it down, we'll make sure it's in there for you to reach out to Keith if you're interested. And like you said, he's not a salesperson for us. He's just simply someone that has worked with us over the years and has found success and is willing to take 30 minutes out of his day and share a little bit about what that looks like for him. Thank you so much for the time, Keith. Always appreciate it. And if anyone has any follow-up questions, please respond to the follow-up email. We'll shoot them over to Keith and we can go from there.
All right. Thanks, guys. Good luck with everything.
Bye, Keith.